Welcome back to Playground Chronicles, where we blast off into the worlds of our favorite childhood cartoons, comics, and toys. Today, we're setting on sights on the trigger-happy four-armed space pirate turned hero, Deadey Duck from Bucky O'Hare. Lock and load, because this is going to be one hyperspace of a ride. Deadey Duck is one of the most memorable members of the Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars, a sharpshooting, wisecracking, four-armed duck with a thirst for action. He's a team's gunner aboard the Righteous Indignation, where a series vendetta against the evil Toad Empire. Deadey brings the firepower and attitude to every battle. But where did this feather-headed furry come from? Deadey Duck made his debut in the original Bucky O'Hare comic strip created by Larry Hama and Michael Golden in the early 1980s. This cult classic comic introduced us to a wild universe of intergalactic freedom fighters battling against an oppressed amphibian empire. Originally a pirate and a space pirate at that, with the Corsair Conrads, Deadey reformed his ways and joined Bucky O'Hare's crews fighting for justice and, of course, the chance to blast some toads. In 1991, Hasbro released a toy line based on the Bucky O'Hare series. Deadey Duck's figure was a standout, bright orbs, menacing scowl, and armed to the teeth. With articulated arms and pistols in every hand, he was one of the coolest figures in the lineup, and in my opinion, the 90s. The figure became a rare collectible, especially after the line was discontinued. However, these toys became very abundant in later years. A planned second wave of figures, including new villains, was scrapped, making the original line even more valuable, but you could purchase them on eBay for barely any money at all. Deadey Duck didn't just rule the toy aisle, he also kicked Toad tail in video games. That's right, 1992, Konami released Bucky O'Hare, one of the best video games of all time, a side-scroll beat-em-up where players could control Bucky, Deadey, and other crew members. Deadey was the fastest shooter, perfect for players who loved high-speed action. There was also a Bucky in a NES game, one of the best run and gun titles of its time and of the franchise. Deadey's four arms were inspired by old-school pirate tropes, allowing him to wield multiple flint-like style laser pistols at once. In some Bucky O'Hare concept art, Deadey was originally green instead of orange. The arcade game featured an exclusive level set inside the giant Toad mothership, never seen in the comics or the cartoons. Deadey's Corsair Canard's pirate background was a nod to the classic pirate movies. Imagine a duck Jack Sparrow with lasers. He was one of the most powerful and most playable characters in both the arcade and NES game because of his rapid-fire abilities. Deadey Duck, for me, was really a menace for the turtles. Overshadowed was Bucky O'Hare due to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' popularity. They had turtles, they had a lot of things, and this one had a human who was a boy, and everybody did okay with this. It was fun, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were that big of a juggernaut to where they really couldn't have any competition because they just stomped them with anything that had to do with animals, including what you're seeing right now. All right, so here we have some Deadey Duck. We're going to go with the modern versus the vintage. One of the coolest toys and characters I've ever seen in my life, and these toys and these characters really don't get that much justice, as you've heard in this episode. They have had a lot of mediums, but not successful mediums. Let's take a look at the toys and see if there was anything these toys could have done. Now, we're looking at late 80s, early 90s. Let's actually see here. Man, my eyes are getting bad. This is I can't tell if that's, I think it's 90. Yeah, 1990. So for a 1990 toy, it's essentially what you would have got. You would have got a neon color, which we got in the jumpsuit. At that point, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles going absolutely bonkers, we get an animal. We got a duck. And then they have some kind of deranged or... you can't have mutation because that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shtick. So this guy's got four arms. No duck in the world has 4 arms and 2 feet. But he is a quick shot. So having him in posability and stuff, I am missing one gun on this. There's supposed to be 4 guns. The playability for these guys matched what Turtles and what Street Sharks and what Captain Planet and all that stuff in the 90s was doing. And so I think the popularity of what Turtles were just really outdid it. And the Turtles were that big of a steam engine that anything that compared to them was gone. Now, the cool thing that Bucky O'Hare did was go in space and go to different... I mean, it was essentially the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Star Wars combined, which was kind of cool. But, I mean, as far as a toy goes on this, as you're taking a peek here, I mean, the face looks great. I mean, that is a cool 1990 design. And there wasn't that much going on. It has Chuck Taylors on, which you gotta represent the Chuck Taylors. And the playability for him matches exactly what it was. I don't know. I don't know why these failed, and I love this toy. I think he's fantastic. Also voice acted by a fantastic voice actor. Then we get, fast forward 30 years later, and we end up getting this. And these don't sell well, but the Turtles and everything else do. I think the demise of this action figure and this toy line is because how popular Turtles were. Now, if you compare these two, they're about the same size. A little bit less chonky on the newer version than the older version. Do have close to the same guns. I'm not touching these articulations because I did a Jenny review and Jenny's arm popped right off. I mean, it snapped like a toothpick. So I'm not really going to move this guy around because I don't want to have 2 broken. But they do move, and he does have the back here to where the guns will come off. And the same for vintage Deadeye Duck. This will press right on, like Lee's press-on nails, goes right on. And he's got all these little holsters for a gun. Deadeye Duck, to me, an absolute just travesty of a great toy that really has been pooed on by the world. I don't know. I think as toy people and geek people, we should get behind a 4-armed duck and rabbits and stuff. I think it's pretty cool. All right, enjoy the rest of this Playground Chronicles. Go get some Deadeye Duck. Look at these toys. They're fantastic. Modern or vintage, and they're cheap. Peace out. In Bucky O'Hare in the Told Wars cartoon, Deadeye was voiced by Scott McNeil, who was also known for a lot of Transformer voiceovers in his later life. He gave a grizzled pirate and cocky sharpshooter an unmatched voice and a very unforgettable sound. The show only ran for 1 season in 1991, but it left a lasting impression on fans and the sci-fi cartoon franchises. Deadeye Duck may not have had as many episodes as other legendary cartoon characters, but he remains a fan favorite and close to my heart. Whether it's his bad pirate past, his lightning-fast trigger, or his unwavering loyalty to Bucky and the crew, Deadeye Duck is one of the most unforgettable space warriors of the 1990s and the cartoon era. That's a wrap for today's Playground Chronicles. What are your favorite memories of Deadeye Duck? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the classic cartoons, comics, and toy lines. Until next time, stay rad, Space Cowboys.